Ever wonder what the evolution of internet live streaming looks like? No? Too bad. Live streams used to be a big deal since technology back then wasn't as good and affordable enough to be able to broadcast live videos to the internet. So back in the 1990s, live streams were big events such as sports or important broadcasts. In the early 2010s, technology was good enough for random people to just go outside and film themselves live. A guy named Justin Can started Justin TV, where he live streams himself interacting with people outside, which later turned into tweets, and then many other people started doing the same thing. But the most popular live streams were gaming live streams or people just sitting in the rooms and talking, which later evolved into internet personalities being themselves while providing live entertainment to those who are interested in their personality. AKA, the most interesting personalities were complete maniacs. Live streamers who commit themselves to dangerous actions and the internet going, whoa, this guy is an idiot. I gotta share this with my pal. And then these kinds of live streams go viral, often these dangerous stunts being spliced and shared into other social medias where it goes viral and brings attention to the streamers with crazy personalities, which inspires other people to do the same thing since it's like a gateway to stardom, either being funny and crazy or do dangerous stunts that can go viral and be crazy enough to even do it. But live streamers who just sit in their room and talk are still the more popular genre, while the people who do crazy stunts just get clipped into r/livestream fails. The inspiration for this video came from this guy, Norme. He started on YouTube just by posting videos. While going through his videos felt like going back to 2018 and seeing all of the trend-jacking videos he has made that has been replicated all over and over again on the site. He already had a pretty stable career, but then he found that just copying ISO speed was somehow a better thing to copy, so he did making videos and became a live streamer. The whole copying ISO speed part didn't work out too well, so what did he decide to do? Ruining his body. He decided to try and stay awake for 12 days straight, which is impossible without accidentally doing micro-sleeping, plus staying awake for that long causes sleep deprivation, problems with concentration, short-term memory loss, paranoia, and hallucinations. Not a really healthy thing to do. When he does his live streams, he mostly just stays there completely silent and ends the stream about 5 days in. So did people congratulate him for his determination to try and break a world record even though they don't really do that anymore since because of the fear of ill effects to the people trying to stay awake for 12 days? Did Reddit or Twitter react positively to his failed attempts and say that it's okay that he failed? Did the internet cheer for him throughout the live stream? He got banned while doing these live streams, and then people made fun of him. Someone even offered him $2,000 to stop doing the challenge, and Norm demanded $100,000. So yeah, while risking his life just for a stupid live stream, he was also being a real piece of shit. If that wasn't enough, he then tried to not blink for the longest time, which he claims to have broken the record, but like it's these kinds of records that are the least credible, aka the most nuanced and dangerous stunts while also being the easiest to fake. I am 99% sure that these live streams were pre-recorded and are just a loop. And again, this is just really dumb and harmful to even think of, let alone do. But if you think that trying to stay awake for 12 days straight or trying to not blink for an hour was pretty unhealthy things, try solitary confinement for a month with no light. I did one Google search on the effects of 1 month solitary confinement with light, and the effects are not pretty, even shortening lifespans. So pair that up with no light, all this guy's cognitive features are just whatever noises he hears, whatever he touches around him, and whatever the donation list says. And like, this is legit. He isn't just looping the shit. He spent a month live streaming himself in complete darkness. The first day in, he had energy, and just 5 days in, he lost all energy and started stripping. 15 days in, and he just walks around and headbutts his door and starts ripping a hole in it. I feel like he was just not understanding anything his chat was saying. He couldn't even speak a basic English at this point. In the last few days, the hole in the door has become a crevice, and in the last few minutes, it just becomes a literal goal. And if you don't know, self-harm is not permitted by any social media's rules, but these live streams where he visibly harms himself are still up and can be watched. And in his latest stunt, he decided to live stream to live in the streets of New York City and try to make $1 million to prove it's easy. He's been streaming for a week and he is currently sleeping on a tent. And it's not like he's trying to do anything to make $1 million. He's just chilling in New York with money but still deciding to sleep on the streets. Like, I don't know, he has a family that knows that he does YouTube and is aware of his success and that he lives in a house with enough essentials. Why would he just do this? In fact, the question at least has a bit of basis in comparison with just randomly wanting to deprive any sort of cognitive function for a month. So what makes a stunt such as ISO speed mostly accepted by people while Norm stunts draw criticism. Well, I mean, yeah, sure, Speed is hurting himself in a way, but at least it provides some sort of nuanced value to it, some sort of shock value or form of entertainment. Plus, Speed is mostly giving himself a bump on the head or two, not mentally damaging himself. I think that everything that Norm has done in his YouTube career can be boiled down into one simple concept. Whatever is popular on YouTube, he would copy it. I guess inspired is a word that you can use. So even when, let's say, Spunky is pretty popular nowadays, why does he continue to do these live streams? Why can't he just copy other people's content and just do Spunky videos and get millions of views? Mental damage from his streams is a viable reason, but it's mostly because he found his stick. You see news outlets making articles about him and tens of YouTubers talking about it. And while it doesn't really reflect on his view counts, he was still gaining recognition throughout the internet. Even if it is negative attention, attention is one hell of a drug. Now, this case mostly falls into a pseudo self-harm genre rather than actual self-harm. I mean, at the end of the day, it's still self-harm. Boggles is the usual Twitch streamer. I mean, he literally uses speed stream layouts, so it means that he also does dumb things on stream. But he is infamously known for faking himself dying. Thankfully, most of the streams and clips where he shows himself putting forks into toasters or putting himself in a washing machine were all removed from Twitch. And let's be honest, a lot of these stunts are fake. The toaster stunt was slowed down on purpose to make it seem legit, and the nice transition of a fake donation placing a pre-recorded edited clip of him spinning inside the washing machine. Just a side note, if he did put himself in an actual washing machine live, he would be dead right now as those machines go really fast and G-force is a thing, so yeah. However, many of the stunts are still live on Instagram and Twitter, as well as him lighting a firework inside his room and using an AED defibrillator on himself. This is once again fake, as a defibrillator only sends an electric shock to the chest when it detects that the heart has an abnormal heartbeat or it just stops working. So no, if you're not having a cardiac arrest and your heart is still working, then it won't just shock you and put you into a fucking coma. Nowadays, he realized that faking dangerous stunts was just not getting him any attention and was getting himself banned, so he just went back to doing normal live streams. And again, as we asked ourselves, why? As I said in regards to Norm, he found his stick. He saw that people were sharing his fake stunts all over social media and decided that he could just keep doing that and go viral, spreading his name all over the internet. But again, it is self-harming content, so in most cases, his streams and his posts would be removed. At least in this case, the person did quit trying to hurt himself for attention. This case is probably the most notorious out of all of the cases in this video. It isn't just a few months of endangering himself, but has been going on for years. Years of frequent incidents that led him to be banned from anywhere he goes. Johnny Somali, real name Ramsey Khalid Ismail, was a Twitch streamer who claims to have been a child soldier and former pirate, began streaming on Twitch in 2023, live streaming himself traveling to Asian countries where he would frequently act like an utter piece of shit. His first stint of controversy was when he was in Japan. Sometimes it isn't the best to hear that an internet influencer visits Japan for content. During his Japan streams, he would often make anti-Japanese jokes to taunt locals, such as making comments about the bombing of Nagasaki and Hiroshima, threatening to bomb Japan with a nuke, playing music that taunted Japanese guests, and recorded them without their permission, taunting Japanese workers by referring to the Fukushima nuclear power plant incident, and harassing a Japanese Twitch streamer, which led him to get banned on Twitch. Somali and his recording partner were then arrested for trespassing and obstruction of business. Somali then traveled to Israel and began attaching pictures of Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein, and Aiden Ross on the Western Wall in Jerusalem. Somali was then detained at a protest for harassing a female officer. Then just a few minutes after his detainment, he would then claim that he witnessed a mass shooting at a restaurant. During the streams, Somali would often get assaulted and have altercations with people because of his antics, even being threatened with a weapon in one instance. However, Somali's trip to South Korea was nothing but absolute insanity for him. Somali traveled to South Korea and began playing loud noises on the subway, such as speeches by Kim Jong-un, and was kicked off of a bus for playing North Korean music. He would then perform lap dances and kiss the Statue of Peace facing the Japanese embassy, a statue that commemorates comfort women during World War II. Somali apologized, claiming that he didn't know about the significance of the statue. Okay, can we just pause for a second? Because what the actual fuck? Somali would then dine at a restaurant but purposefully poured noodles on the table and threw it outside, then making sexist comments towards the workers because he was barred from drinking alcohol. Somali would often get assaulted because of his antics, but unlike in previous cases, most South Korean men over the age of 18 have done military service, so the beatings on Somali were pretty. On November 2, 2024, he was denied from leaving the country because he was under probation due to his earlier incidents, which he would later be indicted for obstruction of business. Additionally, Somali made AI deepfakes of him making out with a random Korean woman and claiming that she was his girlfriend. Unfortunately for him and fortunately for everyone in the world, South Korea at the time just passed laws incriminating this kinds of usage of deepfake, so on top of his other charges, Somali could face up to 22 years in prison, where his trial was postponed to March of 2025. If there is a median for all three cases, it is the aspiration for attention through means of self-harm, either faking stunts, committing stunts, or placing themselves into dangerous situations. All three cases exploit the human nature of curiosity, the sense of exploring its legitimacy, effects, and conflict from placing themselves into dangerous matters. You cannot blame people for being interested in these situations. They are naturally attentive. Seeing people harm themselves and being in dangerous situations, most people would want to see what happened. How is the person involved doing, and why would they do this? Why would they electrocute themselves? Why would they rip a hole in the door? Why would they treat random people with such disrespect? Why would they act like that? The natural tendency for humans to be interested in conflict is also another factor that contributed to the virality of this kind of content. Seeing people have an altercation or a man fighting himself to survive are a form of conflict. Man versus group, man versus himself. These are unintentional storylines that formulate a high point, a low point, and the outcome. Every clip from these streams is equivalent to a segment of a story. Deep or not, it makes the people wonder about the conclusion of these clips. It is natural for people to be attracted to the abnormal. However, while some consider these streams as nuanced, at the end of the day, these streams contain themes of self-harm, physical altercation, and even simulating near-death experiences. These nuances are not something to simulate and replicate, as it does more harm than good. Harm not only to the people in the videos but also to the people watching them. Would they know that it was faked? Would they know that these actions could endanger themselves? How would these actions influence kids? Seeing people act so rude to people and torture themselves for attention, is that a good scene for children to watch? The only reason why these streams aren't all around the internet was because of guidelines set to remove this kinds of endangering content. The only reason why we aren't seeing more and more people endanger themselves for views because they will most likely get their videos removed and even leave them to get banned. Stunt shows were popular. Jackass, Fear Factor, Dude Sense. The difference is that these stunts were controlled, orchestrated, maintained, avoiding to get things out of hand and maintaining the goal of entertaining or providing a point. These streams have nothing of those characteristics to a degree that is beneficial to anyone. These streams are chaotic, no control, things get out of hand, hurting themselves and the people around them, providing a lack of point other than I can do this, and having a lack of entertainment outside of seeing a person be rude, have fights with people, hurting or torturing themselves. There is nothing special to this kind of streams other than the fact that these acts would hurt and kill them. So the next time you consider streaming, you're better off just sitting in your room and being yourself.